Boom. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. But before we get into the whole review thing and why we're here this afternoon, I want to do a little bit of story time and a little bit of apologizing for something that happened this past weekend. Of course, I was out in Steel Valley for the weekend. If you didn't know, that's why reviews didn't go up all that time. But a little bit of situation happened about, I think it was on Friday morning. If anybody knows me on social media and Instagram and all that stuff, I had a little bit of a situation happen to where my account got hacked. I was on Instagram strolling through Friday morning, and suddenly it logs me out, and I get an email saying my phone number for my account has changed along with my email address. And it kind of sucks because I got locked out, and somebody was sending DMs to everybody, like kind of scamming them to hacking their accounts as well. And unfortunately, the person who was hacking my account got to a few people through my friends list, and their accounts got hacked and all that too as well. But so I just want to apologize about that. Luckily, I do have my account back. I got it back yesterday, so I'm pretty excited about that, and was able to get everything all figured out. So just to let you guys know, if I sent you a DM over this past weekend with some weird kind of what's up kind of DMs, don't worry about it. Just ignore it. I apologize yet again that if you got your account hacked from the person who was hacking mine, that hopefully you guys can get figured out. I know I have a PDF. If anybody else got their account hacked from that same situation, that I have a PDF document that may be able to help you out. So just hit me up in my DMs along, or just hit me up on Facebook, Discord, you name it. But just wanted to kind of put that out there before we do the review. But now it's time for us to get into the beer we're drinking this afternoon. We got another one here from Tripping Animals Brewing Company. They're out of Doral, Florida, I believe it is. And they do a lot of crazy stuff. I believe these guys are originally from like Venezuela or something like that, and they moved over to Florida. And they decided to come out with some pretty awesome brews out there. They do a lot of cool, like, different fruited sours. When it comes to the smoothie sours, they do a lot of IPAs and all that stuff. But today, we're going to be looking at another IPA from them called Aussie Sweetness, which is a 10% triple IPA with Enigma and Galaxy hops. So Galaxy hops is going to bring a lot of tropical fruit, like passion fruit kind of aromas and flavors, a little bit of citrus going along in there. And then the Enigma is going to be bringing in a lot of those like more different kind of aromas in it, because they bring off different notes of like Pinot Noir. They bring off like currant flavors like black currant, all that kind of stuff, but with slight citrus aromas to it. So I'm expecting this to be really citrusy, but with it being a triple IPA, there's definitely going to be a lot of hoppy dankness to it, I think. But also they add something into here that may help kind of mellow out the heavy hoppiness to it, because that's what a lot of breweries do when they notice they're using hops that are bringing a lot of strong flavors and aromas in it. They like to add marshmallow to kind of make everything a little bit more balanced, have a little bit more of a pillowy mouthfeel, along with kind of maybe add a little bit of a sweetness to it. So that's exactly what they did. So they brewed it with Galaxy, Enigma hops, and they added marshmallows to it. And today, this is what we got looking at for the Aussie Sweetness. I thought it was definitely a trip for can arts. Has a lot of psychedelic kind of things going on there. Of course, there's a kangaroo with like mushrooms coming out of its pouch and all kinds of hops. It looks like a little bit cannabis buds just from the hops, but there's a lot of stuff going on there. It's just a really, really trippy and kind of just very, very unique can art to me. That's why I picked it up. But this one is actually a collaboration they did with their friends over at Equilibrium Brewery, which Equilibrium, I forgot where they're out of, but they do a lot of good stuff over there as well. So I'm pretty damn excited to drink this one, because I love triple IPAs. I'm a really big triple IPA fan, so if anything could give me really, really heavy, boozy, hoppy flavors, I'm all for it. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's all about. Let's see what we get on the nose. So yeah, right off the bat, getting that like almost, definitely getting like a stone fruity kind of note, a little bit of a tropical fruit, but definitely has that nice pungent, boozy, hoppy note on the nose. So that's definitely knew what I was getting into. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of dank, almost like piney, resiny elements to it. Yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. Definitely smells strong. So I'm going to be drinking this today out of my Heart of the North little glass this afternoon. Let's see how this guy pours. Expecting a nice haze to it, which is exactly what we're getting. Wasn't really expecting like a more of a golden color, even though it's kind of bringing off a nice kind of light orange golden color to it. But yeah, not really much head to this one at all. And look at that hazy AF. Like, I definitely, on the camera, it definitely looks like it has a little bit more of an oranges to it. Almost had, on the pour, it had like kind of a yellowish kind of tint to it. But Right off the bat, yeah, definitely getting a little bit notes of passion fruit. Definitely getting some kind of berry kind of element coming through. Loads of citrus on the aromas. Yeah, smells absolutely delicious. So, without further ado, I think it's time for us to give this one a try. So, let's see how this is. So, cheers, everybody. Here's to me getting my Instagram back finally, and hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. And just let's see how this is. Ooh, yeah. Wow. Right off the bat, that is crazy. So, definitely getting passion fruit flavors, but I'm getting a lot of like black currant coming through as well. I'm surprised that I'm getting that much like of a black currant kind of flavor. Then right at the end, you get that sweetness of the marshmallow that kind of just sticks to your palate. Definitely has a really nice silky creaminess to this. Definitely something that I wouldn't say this is an IPA that isn't for the faint of heart, because it hits you in the face. It's definitely boozy. It hits every kind of note with like slight citrus, definitely getting slight tropical fruit notes, but that black currant, like almost marshmallowy element that kind of hits you at the end is something I would have never expected, and it's absolutely fantastic. Wow, this one caught me through a loop on this one, because I didn't know. I was thinking maybe possible more tropical fruit than I need like that black currant. So I'm thinking that the Enigma hops they use in there is definitely more of a predominant hops. They maybe did a little bit more of the Enigma, other than just using a little bit of Galaxy to kind of add slight tropical fruit notes. But you definitely get a lot of marshmallow coming through on this one, which is actually a really, really nice balance to it. It's definitely kind of mellows it out a little bit. Even though it's still boozy, it's still pungent, it's not as like more of that earthy, dank, hoppy flavor that you get right up in your face. So overall, yeah, I think they did a fantastic job with this. This is impressive. Silky, creamy, hoppy, has a nice sweetness to it. Yeah, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Definitely enjoying that kind of upfront, earthy hoppiness a little bit, coming through with a nice sweetness of like black currant and marshmallow, and then that like kind of marshmallow kind of sweetness just lingering at the end is a really, really nice touch. So that is awesome. So let's look here on Untappd, of course. And one thing that Untappd does that's really, really cool, of course, is when you're on the page of the beer you're looking at and you want to find something similar, because you may not be able to get your hands on anything from maybe Tripping Animals, you may not be able to get your hands on any of this Aussie sweetness, they show a list of similar beers that might kind of give you the same kind of elements to this. So we got 5 ones here from breweries I've probably heard of, some that some of you might have heard as well, but we got one here called Whammy, the double dry hopped IPA from Single Cut Beersmiths. Which, let's see what this one is. Let's see, it's just a nice 7%. A little bit of Australian hops in there, that's what Enigma is definitely an Australian hops that kind of was experimental at one point, but it's starting to become really popular and using it in all kinds of different IPAs. I see it a lot used in triple IPAs because it brings off a lot of those more intense flavors and more of intense aromas to it. So yeah, this one definitely is a little bit more of a tropical fruit note. So I don't know about this Whammy, but let's see. We got one for here from Trillium Brewing Company called the Weather Observatory, which is a 9.5% triple IPA. Pour soft, light orange and glowing haze, tropical fruit, bright citrus. So yeah, that one's definitely going to be another one that's going to bring off more citrusy kind of aromas and flavors to it. We got one here from Exhibit A Brewing Company called Wandering Thoughts, which is a double, which is, let's see, it's brewed with hopped with Ella and Vic's Secret hops. I don't know if I'd really consider that one. Might be given. We got one that people probably know of here from Toppling Goliath called the Double Dry Hopped King Sue, which the King Sue is a very, very popular beer from Toppling Goliath. It's drank all over the country, I would say, pretty well, and this one definitely has loads of tropical fruit, citrus, and all that kind of stuff. But trying to find one that would kind of equal out the Enigma in this one, because you're getting like those winey Pinot Noir kind of notes in there. You're definitely getting the marshmallow is definitely going to add a different kind of sweetness to it. So it's hard for me to choose one off this list that would kind of bring similar profiles and similar flavors, just because using the marshmallow in there adds like a really, really different touch to it, like your normal triple IPA. So my best option would be for maybe something that would be a little bit stronger, maybe the Weather Observatory from Trillium. Let's see, what was this Exhibit A again? That's a 7 and a 7.7. So I think I'm going to go with this Trillium because it's a triple IPA. It's a 9.5, so you're still going to get the booziness to it. Of course, it's going to have a really nice kind of pillowy soft mouthfeel. It's not going to be really dry, giving you a dry mouthfeel at the end. You're definitely going to get citrus. You're definitely going to get a little bit of tropical fruit notes, but you're not going to be getting that same like marshmallowy sweetness at the end. So just keep that in mind. But I'm going to go with this Weather Observatory from Trillium Brewing Company. So if you can get where are they located? So Trillium Brewing Company is located out of Canton, Massachusetts, I believe that is. So if you may be able to get your hands on some of their stuff, you may have a similar drinking experience with that. But let's look here. And of course, we look at the description of the beer because we always like seeing what Untapped puts down. So what they say here is this beer is brewed in collaboration with our good friends over at Equilibrium Brewery. And Aussie Sweetness is a triple IPA hopped with Australian hops Galaxy and Enigma, also reconditioned with marshmallow. So conditioning beers with marshmallow is always a really, really nice touch. Like I said before, it adds sweetness, it adds a little bit more of like a silky kind of mouthfeel, and it also lowers down like the intensity of the hops you're using as well. Even though the hop aromas and flavors in this one are very, very intense, it still kind of makes it balanced, and it's not overly hoppy, it's not overly dank, it just has a really, really nice smooth creaminess to it. So overall, adding marshmallow to like a higher ABV beer to kind of mellow it out a little bit is always a really, really good option. I just see Tripping Animals doing stuff like that all the time when it comes to their triple IPAs. So looking here, it's like I said, it's a 10% ABV. So would I consider this sessionable? Absolutely not. This is definitely like one of those more sipping IPAs. It's very, very, it's refreshing. So definitely something you want to just sip on a little bit. You don't want to be driving after having one or two of these just because you're going to be feeling it after one, that's for sure. But looking here with over 2,165 rating, this one has an average rating of 4.18 out of 5, which that's pretty damn fantastic. Having over 2,000 ratings and still keeping that average of a 4 is, you're knowing you're having a good beer with this one. But we like to check and see if anybody on my friends list checked this one in. I think there's only one, of course, since we got 2 of these when we purchased this off Tavor, which my father checked this one in, and he gave it a 3.75 out of 5. So he may not have been more of the on the sweetness end. He might have not liked the sweetness part of it at the end, but so that's why he gave it a 3.75. He usually doesn't give IPAs up to a 4 unless it's an absolutely fantastic one. He usually gives like those more kind of token, kind of hoppy IPAs, just in that kind of 3.75 realm always. So let's look here and see what the global ratings on this one are and see what people had to say about this beer. So looking here on Untapped, of course, you could always go on to Untapped and search in Aussie Sweetness if you want to see what the ratings are and see if there's any verified locations that are near you that you can pick this stuff up, or you could find beers just from Tripping Animals themselves, because I don't think this beer is in rotation at the moment. But this guy checked it in, gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Let's see, this guy gave it a 3.75, saying marshmallow ... interesting, which I agree. The marshmallow definitely adds a very, very unique element to this beer, which having those like strong hop aromas and triple IPA and kind of having it balance out with a marshmallow flavor in there, I think to me works perfect. I think it's something that more breweries need to kind of play around with and add kind of more marshmallow to their higher ABV IPAs, or if they're brewing a triple, play around with adding marshmallow to it, because you'll add sweetness, you'll add smoothness to it. So let's see what else we got here. This guy gave it a 4 out of 5, purchased at JR Liquor, which is a place in Stevenson Point, Wisconsin. So this place is, you can get some of this stuff in Wisconsin, which is really nice. And this guy gave it a 4 out of 5. So this guy gave it a 2. He must have not liked the marshmallow, or it may have been his first triple IPA he's tried. This guy gave it a 2.5. Let's see, we got another 4. We got a 4.25. We got a 4.25 purchased off Tavor, which is how I got mine. Another 4.25. Let's see, a 3.5, 3.5, 4. So yeah, overall, pretty decent rating. Some smaller, like lower ratings on this one for sure, just because it may have been something that they're not used to getting marshmallow in their IPAs, which is, I can understand. It's definitely not something that is relatively common with a triple IPA. A lot of the times they'll let the hop speak for himself, so you can get those heavy kind of boozy flavors along with getting the natural aromas and flavors that the hops they use produce. But when it comes to adding marshmallow to their IPAs, Tripping Animals has some kind of like secret recipe that they have down to where they just add just enough to where it's not overly too sweet, but you're still getting a nice pungent kind of sweetness from the marshmallow at the end, which I think is a really, really nice touch, like I said before. But with all that being said, let's start figuring out what we're going to be doing on our end here to try to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings. Let's pour a little bit more in there. Let's try to see if, yep, was able to finish the can. And let's look at can art, because can art's the first thing we always look at. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen anything from Tripping Animals before, obviously with the name Tripping Animals, they always have some kind of thing with some kind of animal being in there, and they use a lot of like psychedelic inspirations when it comes to a lot of their can arts. Of course, this one has a lot of really like psychedelic. Of course, they have mushrooms, hops, making it look like cannabis a little bit. So they're sticking with this psychedelic theme. Of course, having that kind of trippy kind of background else is a nice touch, but they always do a lot of things with their can art to where there's always an animal on there, first of all, but they kind of have just a very, very unique artwork to it, to where one of them I had an elephant on there who's just pissed off and angry, but this one is just a very, very stoned kangaroo. Like, his eyes are almost closed, they're kind of green a little bit, and you can tell he's just having a great time. But let's see, with can art, I'm gonna probably give this I wouldn't say I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5, just because you guys know the kind of can art I like is having the more of like morbid, a lot more detail. Even though this one has a lot of detail to it, it's still fantastic, but I'm not going to even give it close to like a 5 out of 5. So I'll give this maybe a 4.5 out of 5 for can art for me. I really do enjoy it. Of course, Tripping Animals always has this really unique logo to it. I don't know if you can see it at the top, but it's like an egg. So I don't know, it's like a 2-colored egg or whatever. So whenever you see that, you know you're drinking a Tripping Animals beer. So yeah, really, really cool can art. But let's move on and see, if I got this beer in a flight at Tripping Animals, would I get another one? To be honest, most likely. Like I said before, I really like what these guys do when it comes to adding marshmallow to their heavy triple IPAs. I think it's a really, really nice touch. Of course, they play around with different hops they use to kind of give different flavors along with it. Sometimes having more tropical fruit notes, sometimes having more piney, resiny notes. But I think when it comes to adding the marshmallow, they're going to definitely use it into something that will bring off a little bit more fruit flavors when it comes to the hops they use. I don't see them doing it to where it's going to be mostly piney, grassy, resiny, kind of dank, hoppy flavors, because the grassiness and marshmallow just doesn't seem like it would work. So you want to definitely stick with hops that kind of bring off more fruity aromas. Definitely tropical fruit and citrus is always a good option, just because sweetness can balance out the sharp kind of bitterness that some of the hops brings off. So, but looking at what they have pouring over there with their beer list, because I don't think this one's available over there. So if I got this in a flight, I would absolutely get another one. But looking at what they have available on tap right now, closest thing that I'm seeing that you can get on tap over at Tripping Animals that would be even similar to this would probably be their Super Connected, which is a 10% ABV triple New England hazy IPA. Of course, this one, let's see, they have definitely kind of using like mushroom kind of thing, so definitely this would be a pretty cool, interesting drinking experience one, that's for sure. Of course, they collaborated with Fittins Brewing Co., so of course they like playing around with other breweries and kind of seeing what them and other breweries can do together. So that would be the one I would suggest if you're looking for a nice triple IPA over at Tripping Animals right now. The Super Connected is probably looks like the only option right now for you for a triple IPA. Otherwise, they have a bunch of different fruited sours. They have some lagers, fruited Berliner Weisses. So you have definitely a good amount of variety when it comes to stuff you can get at Tripping Animals right now. So let's see. What is my final rating on this guy going to be? Like I said, I love the tropical fruit notes that you get. I like that kind of blackcurrant, almost Pinot Noir flavor you get with the Enigma hops. But then that marshmallow sweetness that comes in at the end makes everything balanced, has a nice lingering sweetness at the end with it. Like I said, this is definitely something that would be considered a very, very unique triple IPA in my book. So being able to have this kind of beer and have something that's different, that's what I'm gonna give a lot of bonus points for that, because they're kind of going outside your average wheelhouse for your normal triple IPA. So final rating on this guy, I think I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Solid 8.5. I'm not going to give it a 10. Like I said, it's not the best triple IPA I've ever had. I think there's a couple other breweries that have kind of taken that mark for me when it comes to just knowing how to make triple IPAs. I know Adroit Theory is one of them. You guys hear me talk about all the time. I think they probably have some of the best triple IPAs I've ever had. So, but this one after having a few of the higher ABV triple IPAs from Tripping Animals, these guys are definitely on my list for breweries to keep an eye out for when you're looking for this kind of style of an IPA. That's for damn sure. But other than that, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. It's good to see most of the regular crew back with some new faces as well. So it's good for you guys to be here. Of course, if you're looking for anything when it comes to social media and craft beer, biggest recommendation is to get yourself onto Untappd. It's a fantastic platform. You could check in beers, get badges, all the kind of stuff. It's a really, really fun time. Plus, they have a bunch of different like coupon codes and stuff for different beer services out there where it comes to different beer subscription services. That's how I got my hands on stuff from Tavour. And they just do, let's see, I know they have a discount services when it comes to like getting your an at-home kegerator kind of stuff. So they just do every kind of service that's available for craft beer. Untappd has probably promotional codes and different discount codes for that service as well. So just keep an eye out on Untappd. You get notifications in their newsletters and all that kind of stuff for what deals they have going on. But if you want to get your hands on stuff from Tavour, because that's how I usually get all my beer that isn't brewed in the state of Illinois, best recommendation, go to their app, go to their website. They'll direct you right to the App Store where they're available on Android or iPhone. And unfortunately, if you're in more of a rural area, it may be a little bit difficult for you to get your hands on stuff for them just because they're based out of Washington State and they ship beers all around the country, but it's more in like a suburban kind of areas and stuff where they take advantage of small courier services to deliver the product to you. So if you're in a rural situation, you may not be able to get your hands on stuff from Tavour or Tripping Animals that way, because that's how I get my hands on stuff from Tripping Animals is through Tavour. But my biggest recommendation, if you're not sure, download the app, and when you're creating your account, they'll make you put all your info in and put your zip code in. When you put your zip code in, they'll let you know right away if you can get stuff delivered to you from them. And they get over 7,000 beers, and they're updating their list every single day. Some rare stuff, some secret stuff. If you've been using them for a while, I get some secret stash stuff that kind of shows up on my list every once in a while. But it's just a fantastic service out of Washington State. So if you want to take advantage and try to use them, you can hit me up. I can send you over a referral code where you can get free $10 worth of beer from Tavour. It would give me a free $10 to spend on beers to possibly review later on. So, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.